we do have our next presentation ready, and it is a face we've already seen today. What do you know? This is BTCS Inc.'s CEO and Chairman, Charles Allen. How you doing, Charles?
I'm great, Brent. Thanks so much for having us. I really appreciate you providing this.
Absolutely. So you were taking part in a little panel earlier where you were kind of talking a little bit more about the industry. Now you're going to get to go into and talk a little bit more specifically about BTCS. I will let you take it away, sir.
All right. Thanks so much, Brett. So as Brett said, I'm the CEO of BTCS. We're one of the first public companies in the U.S. So I'll start off and just go through some of the investment highlights. BTCS currently has three core focuses. The first is our blockchain infrastructure solutions, where we basically secure disruptive blockchains such as Ethereum's Beacon blockchain and generate revenue doing that. We also are building a non-custodial staking as a service platform to grow revenue and expand the margins by allowing other users to secure these disruptive blockchains. That's essentially similar to running pools if you want to have a Bitcoin mining equivalent. We're also building a data analytics platform to allow users to connect multiple exchanges and view their performance metrics. And our last component of the business is just a digital asset treasury strategy, similar to what MicroStrategy and other large companies have done. And that's been extremely successful for us with over 7,500% year-over-year increases as of Q1. Our goals for the future are to uplist to a senior exchange. We actually just applied for our NASDAQ listing yesterday to secure other disruptive blockchains and to launch our staking as a service platform as well as the data analytics platform. Just for some quick industry overview, we view the internet kind of as the digitization and proliferation of information. You can share information, whether that's an Excel file or a PowerPoint, a video, anything globally. However, until blockchains came about, you were unable to share assets globally without a trusted third party. And blockchain technologies allow for the digitization of assets and sharing. We've seen that with NFTs as an example of art, but also as cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. So there's a lot of use cases for blockchains. Both as digital currencies, smart contracts, record keeping, securities. There's lots of different companies working on these. I think the two big use cases that are being deployed really are NFTs and DeFi, where there aren't incumbent players making it hard to launch these products. And most of these disruptive solutions are being built on top of smart contract-based blockchains such as Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, Algorand, Tezos. There's a whole bunch that are getting built on top of this. It's obviously a huge market opportunity. There's global investable assets are about 120 trillion, and the crypto markets are down in the 2 trillion range. So we see there being huge upside potential for the markets going forward. Moving forward onto kind of what BTCS does. Again, we have three main components. Our blockchain infrastructure solutions, where we basically are staking Ethereum, securing Ethereum's 2.0 beacon chain, and we plan to stake Cardano's blockchain by the end of this month. Our data analytics platform and our digital asset treasury strategy. We had some great operational highlights. This is actually a little dated. We just put out our 10Q yesterday, so I haven't had time to update this. We had, as of May 11th, approximately 37 million in crypto, a total of about a little over 40 million in cash in crypto as of May 11th. We had 3 million in realized crypto gains for Q1, 7.8 million in unrealized gains as of March 31st. It's obviously substantially more. 15 million shareholders' equity. Management invested 1.1 million in January. We're now actively generating revenue. In Q1, we did 72,000 for the quarter, but that only started at the tail end in late February. To date, in Q2, for the first 6 weeks, we've generated 192,000 in revenue, and we, with a 75% gross margin, we see that expanding going forward. As far as the management, the team is Michael Handerhan. He's our COO, and myself as the chairman. We're actually looking to hire a CFO in the coming months to broaden our team and add more financial oversight as well as growth ability. We recently added 2 new independent directors, Charlie Lee, who's the creator of Litecoin, former Coinbase engineer. He recently joined as an independent director on April 1st, as well as Carol Van Cleef, who's well recognized within the blockchain space. We've been one of the first public companies in the space, and we've had the chance to try our hand at a lot of things, such as Bitcoin mining. And we think we've kind of honed in on what we believe will be the most profitable and best business for our shareholders going forward. We think we can create the most shareholder value by securing disruptive blockchains where those underlying assets can go up in addition to generating revenue from securing them, as opposed to a Bitcoin miner where you're basically buying a depreciating asset. I touched on our cryptocurrency assets a little earlier, but as of May 11th, we had 37 million. The majority of that is in Ethereum, which is staked. We had about 5 million in Bitcoin, and 90, which is 90 Bitcoin. One of the big goals for the company is to uplist to the NASDAQ. In that effort, we've recently submitted our application. We believe uplisting to the NASDAQ will open the company up to a wider array of shareholders, specifically investors that have accounts with Webull as well as Robinhood are unable to purchase our securities, and many institutions are unable to purchase our securities as well. So we believe if we're able to successfully uplist to the NASDAQ, there'll be a wider addressable audience in terms of investor universe, and hopefully that will translate into share appreciation and shareholder value. Compared to many of our OTC peers, we're just a huge discount. Looking at all these companies based on their last public filings, we have substantially more cash in crypto than all of them combined. I think it's 2 to 3 times more cash in crypto than all these companies put together. So we're, in our view, a value play compared to our OTC peers, and even compared to our NASDAQ peers, we are still a relatively decent value play in terms of the assets we have on the balance sheet. I touched on the blockchain infrastructure solutions. That's kind of the main revenue driver and one of the core focuses of the company. Our core goal there is to, 1, expand the company operations. Right now, we're staking Ethereum. We have 240 nodes running on the Beacon chain. We plan to expand that into other disruptive blockchains, and then build out a staking as a service platform so that we could leverage other users' capital and generate revenue from effectively what is a pool. So we're very excited about this, and we think this will be a big revenue driver for us going forward. In terms of how we select new blockchains to secure, we really have 3 tests. The first is the quality of the blockchain, the market cap, liquidity, what exchanges it's traded on, and most importantly, probably the utility of the underlying blockchain. And then we look at how much revenue can we generate, and then the technical difficulty in order for us to spin up operations and commence securing that blockchain. I mentioned earlier, we're also working on a data analytics platform. The platform allows for a user to connect multiple crypto exchanges into one centralized web portal so that they can evaluate the performance as well as other ratios, such as equivalent of a Sharpe ratio. The end goal would be to allow users to share their data and allow other people to follow them, very similar to a copy trade, where they would get alerts when someone else trades, and a user on the platform could basically charge other users a fee to allow them to follow. For those of you that do have accounts at various exchanges, most of them do not give you your performance. They only give you the balance at a particular point in time. So you can look at your balance over a day, a week, a month, a year, but whether or not you've actually generated a return on your investment is hard to say unless you've invested just at one point in time. Here's a preview of some of the screenshots. We're actually working to update this give it a nicer graphical user interface. As far as the roadmap, we're anticipating launching a public beta release in Q3 or latest Q4, so we can get testers on there, with a public release coming early next year. With respect to our digital asset treasury strategy, right now we just own Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, we're looking to expand into other tokens that we believe have tremendous value. Unlike when the internet kind of came to fruition, you could invest in companies that built applications on top of the internet, but you couldn't invest in the actual underlying protocols. For instance, you couldn't invest in the FTP, file transfer protocol. You couldn't invest in HTTPS. All of these protocols were what the internet is built on top of, were uninvestable. And what's very interesting about the blockchain technology is you can actually, by owning the underlying token, you're effectively investing in that protocol. So you can invest in that business logic layer that was uninvestable back when the internet was launched. So to us, that's very interesting, and we're looking at other tokens that we can put on our balance sheet as well. As far as tokens we're looking at, we're breaking them down into kind of key verticals: cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, Internet of Things, computing, and data storage. Some of these tokens on the smart contract side are proof of stake, so we'll be able to get exposure to those through our staking operations, as well as potentially our staking as a service platform, once launched. So with that said, kind of the investment highlights is we're right now the only pure play U.S. public company focused on disruptive proof of stake blockchains. We believe proof of stake blockchains are much more environmentally friendly than proof of work blockchains. Elon Musk actually just came out with a tweet that Tesla is not going to be buying any more Bitcoin. Most likely he's going to be looking at proof of stake blockchains. We believe if you can have the same security that a blockchain offers through a different consensus mechanism, it makes a lot more sense. Obviously, there's a place for proof of work blockchains, but we see a lot more potential in proof of stake blockchains and potentially, proof of stake blockchains that are smart contract based, where applications can get built on top of. We're also, targeting revenue growth going forward. We're looking to build out the staking as a service platform. And, the big thing, just kind of summarizing, is we're optimistic that we'll be able to uplist the company to a senior exchange, to the NASDAQ shortly, assuming we're able to meet their requirements. So with that said, I'd like to open it up to any investor questions.
Awesome, Charles. I think that we have the most questions from the chat here for your presentation. So let's see if we can knock out a few of them. We probably won't be able to get to all of them here, but a couple questions on timelines. You just mentioned it a couple seconds ago there. Do you have any timeline for a NASDAQ decision on your listing?
So we submitted the NASDAQ application yesterday.
Okay.
We waited to submit that application until we filed our 10Q, such that all of the initial listing requirements that the NASDAQ requires were solidified in a report that had been reviewed by our auditors and filed with the SEC. So we've been advised it could take 6 to 12 weeks to uplist to the NASDAQ. Obviously, we can't guarantee they will agree to list us. It's kind of like joining a club, but the timing, based on what we've been told, is 6 to 12 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that one. And then another little timeline question here. Do you have any timeline for being cash flow positive? Another question from the chat here.
We haven't put out guidance on being cash flow positive. We have put out guidance on revenue expectations, that we expect to do over 1 million in revenue for 2021. That's frankly very conservative. We did 192,000 in the first 6 weeks of Q2, and 72,000 in the basically last month of the first quarter. So when we'll get to cash flow positive, we're not putting out that level of guidance at this stage.
I figured. Another question here: will the company use Charlie Lee's quote megaphone reach, I guess, to promote crypto and blockchain initiatives? It's a pretty good question.
Look, Charlie is an independent director, right? So his role as an independent director is to do what's in the best interest of our shareholders, right? Make sure that we can create the most value for our shareholders. if he, is open to talking about the company via his Twitter or other feeds, that's purely up to him.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, I keep saying this, but I wish we had a little bit more time with our presentations. We do have a couple more questions, but Charles, how can some of potential investors or investors in our chat get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of us is you just go to our website and you can just submit a request. I actually I look through all those personally. So if an
Awesome.
email comes in, you'll get a response. So that's the best way to connect with the company, or you can reach out to Dave Gentry at Redchip, and his information is on the was on the screen, but it's also listed on the.
There it is.
There you
Sweet.
go. All
Somebody
right.
helped you
You
out.
can also reach out to Redchip as well, and they can set something up.
Awesome. Charles Allen, BTCS CEO and chairman. Thank you so much, sir. You have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks so much, Brent. Enjoy your weekend.